Hello everyone, my name is Todor Kesarovski and I'm representing the Bulgarian-based NGO Informal. First of all, I'd like to thank Oberlicht for the invitation to participate in this exciting project that you start today. And second, I would like to apologize for my physical absence. Due to personal reasons, unfortunately, I could not be present. Therefore, we need to do this presentation in a bit more alternative way, maybe a bit more static way, but in the end of the presentation, I'll provide you my email address that you can send me any kind of inquiries or questions. Feel free to do so. I'll be happy to answer you. I hope that this will still work and will give some input in respect to the project. So without losing more time, I would like to introduce the main topic of this presentation. It will be about sharing our personal experience with urban landscaping and creating physical artifacts as social engaging tools, as research and communication tools for urban renovations and revitalization of public space. But who are we? Who are Informal? We are a team of professionals, designers, urbanists, architects, engineers, and civil activists who believe in the power of people and their capabilities to recreate the urban environment. We believe that nowadays every single citizen has the potential and has the capabilities to reshape his own city or at least neighborhood. However, in order to do so, they have to be empowered. Therefore, we're exploring different tools, digital tools, service design tools, but predominantly physical artifacts and physical tools to create this environment of communication and civil engagement. This talk will focus mainly on our project Neighborhood Chat that we developed the summer of 2016 as part of One Architectural Week Festival. One Architectural Week Festival is the biggest festival about architecture in Bulgaria, and it takes place in Plovdiv, the second largest Bulgarian city. And except that it creates the environment for a discourse and discussion about the contemporary global and Bulgarian perspectives towards urban development and architecture, it also experiments with urban environments. One Architecture Week is a festival that interferes with the physical settings of the city of Plovdiv and seeks new models for transforming and managing the urban environment. In that fashion, the 2006 edition focused on the topic of civil participation in the recreation of public space and the local inhabitants of people. The context where the experiment was taken was Trachea district. It's the largest neighborhood in the city, accommodates the most people, and it is built in the 70s and 80s of the last century as a wide-scale housing neighborhood with its typical features for a communist mass building neighborhood. And the structures are made by prefab panels. I think that these are structures that you can see in every Eastern Bloc country. The major goal that we were supposed to achieve and our main role in regards to the festival was to create a social engagement process with the local communities and involve them into the public space renovation from the very beginning, from the research phase to the design and to the actual implementation and the physical intervention. The framework of the project itself was rather complicated since it involved multiple working teams, multiple professional working teams, which were the organizational team of the festival, the curators of the festival, Studio Bazaar, who might be along you, and the Bulgarian design team, which was us, and additional 3 foreign collectives who were responsible for the design of 3 interventions. And having that on one hand, on the other hand, we had the local communities and their engagement, which was absolutely required due to the main theme of the festival. Therefore, in the beginning, the major ask that was made to us was to create a digital platform or to use any kind of digital tool in order to incorporate all of these parties to collaborate effectively. However, while we were designing our process, we reached the conclusion that we think that digital approaches could be very effective, but also we need physical approaches and physical landscaping in order to create the engagement with the local community especially. So therefore we combine and employ both physical and digital approaches in that project. The specific location that we focus on is a very typical area, a very typical public space enclosed in between 3 residential blocks, and it has all of these elements extremely well representing this environment. So elements from the original landscape design that are not in their best condition. Also a lot of informal elements that were built additionally by the local inhabitants with their own financial resources and with their own efforts. So the synergy of these elements really attracted us to work with that particular space and seek for active citizens there that could be engaged. Having this in mind, we created our action plan, and the whole project itself was developed in a rather short span of 2 months, the major activities, plus 1 additional week where the actual physical interventions were facilitated. So our idea was to create, in order to engage with the communities, was to create a structure which could, a physical structure that could act as a physical attraction and attract their interest. It could also facilitate different activities like leisure and recreation, entertainment, community brainstorming, and also as a data collector, so that the data about the environment comes to us directly rather than we seek for it. Having the concept and the action plan already defined, we were ready to proceed with the design of the physical structure. Due to the different justifications, we identified 4 essentials for the design of this structure. The first one was that it was necessary for the structure to be mobile, so it could be easily transported and assembled and disassembled at different locations within the space that allow us to reach for more people, to attract more people, and to experiment more with the space. The second one was the structure to be secure, to be constructed from natural materials and provide comfortable environment for community events. Having this in mind, it was necessary to provide sufficient climate protection, mainly sun protection, and opportunities to sit and relax. The third justification or essential for the design was to be the structure to be constructed from repetitive elements modules. By doing so, we aim to symbolically connect with the surrounding residential blocks, which were constructed in the same fashion. So the structure will fit the environment, purely architecturally, constructurally, design-wise. The fourth and the last essential for the design of the structure was to be capable of incorporating diverse research tools and instruments that would support the field work and the collection of data in regards to the citizens' desires, intentions, problems within the space. So we proceeded and we constructed it, and here I will play the following video that is on YouTube as well, that we filmed our assembling process. The assembling was more or less similar in reverse way. The assembly of this structure took us approximately 1 hour for with 3 people involved. In the same manner, the structure was assembled in different places within the space. And what is important to mention also is that we designed it in such a way that it's flexible, so it could go smaller or enlarge in respect to a space, available space that we have where we want to construct it, and also in respect to the events that will settle in the concrete day or evening and so on. So in the video you saw it installed with 2 modules each side, but it was also possible to be only with 1 module each side and 3 modules each side. So this was creating extra flexibility for us to interact with the structure and with the space, which we really liked, and in the long term it was something that was very useful. Having that, the structure was assembled during 2 time spans for a total amount of 12 days. First, it was assembled for 7 days, during which we researched the desires of the people, what they want to happen in this environment, and also we were researching how people use the space, and on the basis of this we created a design brief which we sent to the foreign collectives, who on their side developed 3 design proposals for 3 particular interventions. And when we had these drafts, we returned for extra 5 days to additionally discuss them with people, to specify their locations, to improve them, and to create something that is more fitting the needs of the locals, who will be the future users. During these 12 days, we contacted with approximately 230 people from the surrounding area and the adjacent blocks, and this is more or less 20-25% of the residents there, and we thought that it was very successful. So at least people knew about what will happen, and further on this was demonstrated in the actual interventions. We to accelerate and to make our research process more efficient, we also designed 4 engagement tools which we incorporated within the structure and also during the process. So these 4 engagement tools were, for the first one was window towards the neighborhood, which represented an actual window through which any citizen could focus on a certain landscape element, the one that he desires, and personally reimagines its appearance through drawing over the window. Another tool was mapping the neighborhood, which was a plan of the territory which we had with us every day, and there walkers could map the positive and negative qualities of the area. A third tool was an urban game called Urban Explorers, which was orientated or focused mainly towards children and exploring their perception of the space, and round tables, which were representing formal and informal debates and discussions with the residents in respect to what they want to have and what is good, what is bad about having certain functionality there. We decided also to use boards permanently on which we were marking what are the most popular desires of the people, so any other citizen can comment on that and reflect on that, even though they didn't have a direct contact. So by doing this, we intended to get extra input. We thought that the best way to verify how successful we were in our engagement process were actually the days when the physical intervention happened. And it got in the beginning we were feeling that we were actually not that successful in the engagement, but later on people came to help and the snowball effect was extremely active. So by the end of the physical interventions, it was full of people helping us. After that, reflecting on what actually happened, we thought that there was another justification for which people were not coming in the beginning. So what happened was that the 3 interventions that were proposed was tightly connected to what people wanted to happen. So we designed, there was a design of alternative children playground, a renovation of existing pavilion, community pavilion that was constructed by people, so it was renovated, and actually a very interesting renovation of former fountain pool that was part of the original design, but in the last year was buried and it was a place for garbage and was in very bad condition. So it was recreated as a area for relax and recreation. What was very interesting for us was that the local community went beyond this. So basically they did additional interventions. They were not hesitating to do things that were not part of the design, and they were not just helping us, but they were creating their own elements, which was a proof that the concept of involving citizens and empowering them will anyway at some point will give results, and that people are capable of doing this. So what you have on the bottom here, a sandbox for the children, was totally initiated by people and made only by them. They also did some tables and some benches in addition to the original design. I guess this is the most important slide for you, and I hope it can provide some useful assumption that you can use in your own project now in Public Facades. When we look back on everything that we did with our research action and our engagement action, and we analyze what happened, there are few things that we really think should be emphasized. First thing, it works. It really does. We really felt that the physical presence really engaged with people. They're interested, they're coming, they're seeing the structure, they ask questions. What is this? Who are you? And this is important. And the first step is made by them, actually, and this creates completely different setting for conversation, discussion, and whatsoever. You don't bother people; they bother you. Time matters. This is really true in two dimensions. The first one is that we identified that it's very important for people to get used to the idea. So it's very important when you notify them, they get used to the idea that something will happen. When you ask them for their input, what they want to happen, they answer immediately, but then they think and they give you another answer and more specific answer, and so on. The other dimension which time matters is that also if you overcommit with them and if you're there like in constant period of time, we figure out that when we're in the first 7 days, in the last days they were starting losing interest. So what we thought is that a good way is to overcome this is to basically plan your actions little by little, so you can engage with them little by little and they have time to give better input and the idea to grow in their mind. This is important. A third thing that we learned is that you have to keep it simple. It was the framework of this project was very complicated. There were a lot of external professionals involved, people from abroad, and so on. And this influenced people in the manner that when different people were responsible for different things, they were starting resisting again. So, for example, we had the closest contact with them. We were there most of the time, and they get used to it. We got their trust. And when the design was made by other people, they were a bit discouraged because they were thinking that things will not go back to the collectives, and the collectives themselves, they were having their own vision, so there was no direct connection there, and they don't have trust in them. After that, the physical implementation of the proposals were led by other people. So people, that's why we believe in the beginning people were resistant to join, because they felt like this is a different story, this is a different project, but it's not. And the fact that we were there and explaining them helped them to come and join. Another thing that we found very important is that you have to demonstrate that the local input matters. This is vital for building mutual trust and encourage participation. Like demonstrating in small things. Like in our case, we put a board with all of the desires, all of the things that people wanted to have in the space, and they saw it, and they were happy. They were feeling like, okay, so my opinion matters apparently, and this was giving them very positive signs, and they were inspired and they wanted to continue being involved. Another, this was unexpected finding actually, but we realized that in places like Bulgaria and in places where people don't have big trust in institutions, which is the case probably in Moldova as well. People see you as a representative of the authority or part of the people of the communities. That's it. It's not. It's very hard for them to see something in between. That you're a mediating factor. That you're a mediating actor. So I don't know exactly how these kind of problems is very context dependent. How you overcome this, but I believe that it's interesting and it's important to consider it. It's very likely that it will happen probably in Moldova as well. And further on, I would like to. This was a project in Plovdiv. I would like to give you a further peek a peek on our contemporary, the actual work that we do now, which is very similar, and we try to incorporate the things we learned into the new model. We work on this project called The Spot, which focus on 10 different cities. Well, there are 10 different public places that were derelict in 10 cities, which the idea was that the cities will be smaller, less than 75,000 people in population, and it's a placemaking process that they have to be renovated by engaging with the local communities. The focus is on the youth and the promotion of physical activities within urban space. These are the cities that are part of the project, and we work them out little by little. Unfortunately, this project was the actual interventions and our activities were kicked off very recently. We started in May, so it's very hard to draw any kind of solid conclusion that I can suggest here. But what I can do is that I can show you what we do and what is our action plan. What is the biggest innovation for us in that project is that we decided to have this well-defined 3 different stages, which are called touch, engage, and action. They have different intensity, and there is certain time in between them. So we tried by doing that to create this gradual process, and also to give time to communities to engage with the idea, to develop their everything in their mind, and come and join. The interesting thing here is that we again use physical landscaping as an engagement tool. In the first stage, touch, we create physical provocations, and we really want to be very context specific. So, for example, the first 2 cases that we developed in Sofia, so more urban feeling, and the location is again residential, similar to Plovdiv, but a bit different. We decided to have these graffiti artists to do a poster with Uncle Sam team, and we gave stickers to people so they can stick on the poster or anywhere in the space what they want to have there. So this was very context expanded that we wanted to do it that way. In the second case of this project, in another town, Sandansky, the place is very interesting, but it has these old sculptures that are not in their best shape now, and the way we wanted to attract attention was to redress one of the sculpture, the most famous one, the rooster, and we designed special boxes that we call the boxes of desires, where they can learn more about the initiative, what's going to happen, and add their desires and needs. So by doing this, we want to both create certain momentum to familiarize people with the future process, but also get input from them. And when we come for the next stages, we continue with the work, and then on the third stage, on the action, we actually construct with people. We'll see how it works. It's very hard for us to draw conclusions, but you can keep track on the project and so on. The spot. Well, this is it. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm very, very sorry that I'm not present there. And I realize that this will influence the interactivity now of this talk, but here is my email, and feel free, please, to send me any kind of inquiries that if I can help you or if I can give any kind of input, I'll be very happy to do so. I want to wish you good luck with the project there. I'll be following what's happening for sure. I'm very curious myself, and that's it. Good luck and keep in touch, hopefully.